your orders. Enjoy that. Now we have another great opportunity for you as we can continue opening up our vault, and wait till you see what we have found in the vault, because this is the $50 gold buffalo coin, $27.99.95, and when you look at that, you know the rarity of that is
we got to count it down, basically.
Right?
And what we'll do is we'll keep track of how many we have sold, and we'll let you do. It's easy to do the math from 24. We've already sold 3, so I've got 21 left, okay, is ultimately what it comes down to. Brand new coin just released. The American Gold Buffalo was first started, this is the 10th anniversary of the American Gold Buffalo, first started in 2006. It was, for the longest time, the only 24-karat gold coin made by the United States government, done in a full ounce. It is a faithful reproduction of the James Earl Fraser design that graced the Buffalo nickel from 1913 to 1938. Described by most people as the single most iconic coin ever made by the iconically American coin ever made by the United States government. On the front, you've got a basically stylized American Indian. James Earl Fraser used for this a kind of a compilation of about 6 different models, American Indian models that he did with that, and it comes up with this absolutely classic American Indian visage that you're going to see right there, done, and this right here is no mistake. It was originally supposed to look like hammered metal to give it that very rustic feel and look. These, by the way, we just flew these in. I've got 20 remaining now, 4 sold, that we're going to have. And then the reverse of the coin, we all know the Buffalo nickel. Well, this is the Buffalo nickel in pure gold. And as you can see, it's got that standing on a plane, on a raised plane right there, and you can see the hammered look that was originally intended. Now, this buffalo was actually a specific buffalo. His name was Black Diamond, and he inhabited the New York Zoological Society for many, many, many years. And James Earl Fraser sat and drew him, and he, this magnificent American bison that you see here, has graced the back of the Buffalo nickel, and now the $50 gold, 24-karat gold Buffalo coin for 10 years, and the American Buffalo nickel for 25 years is what they did. Now, 5 of these gone. That's the way we'll keep track, is 5, so 19 remaining. Now, here's what's happened. 5 gone with that out of 24, so only 19 remaining. I've done the American Buffalo every year since 2006. In terms of the proof Buffalo $50 coin that you see here, this is the lowest limited edition that I have done. This is the lowest. Even when gold was, you know, 30, 40% higher than it is today, even when gold was 30, 40% higher than today, and the price on this was 30 or 40% higher than it is today, we had editions that were 40 and 50 and 60 and 70. Now these coins have become extraordinarily and exceedingly difficult to get. And because of this, because it is the West Pointer W Mint Mark, it then becomes exceedingly difficult to get them in perfect condition. So 24 in the limited edition, I purchased about 100 coins to be able to do this. Now, do the math. You know, that's $250,000 is what we've had to do just to be able to bring you out an edition of 24 coins. Always one of the single most popular coins that we have each and every year. It's a virtual guaranteed sellout, 18 now, remaining only a dozen and a half in the entire edition. Now, when you see ANACS certified first day of issue in 24 coins, please understand that is 100% exclusive to us here at HSN. You cannot buy this coin anyplace else. What that means is $27.99.95 is the guaranteed lowest price for the ANACS first day of issue. Now, you may go out there and see a first day, not a first day of issue, but a first strike or something like that from NGC or PCGS. They are not numbered. I guarantee there are far more than 24 of them. I don't know if there'll be 70s, 69s, whatever they are. They do all these things. For ANACS first day of issue, this is it. There are 24 and 24 only. All will be sold here. All will be $27.99.95. That's it. Okay, what do we have? 17 left. A mere 17 left in 4 minutes. I'm assuming this is going to be a one and done presentation, as is often the case. Now, as is the HSN tradition, of course, 30-day money-back guarantee. If you get this coin at home, and it's not every single solitary thing, this coin or any coin that I say it is, please, I implore you, return it for a full refund. That's what we do. I never want to present you to a coin that you are not proud to pass down from generation to generation. Look, these are generational touchstones, is what coins are. They're passed from mother to daughter and father to son and grandfathers and grandmothers to grandsons and granddaughters and nieces and nephews from aunts and uncles. And that's what happens. And it becomes generational. And it's a generational touchstone, and it touches each generation. It goes down. And if you get this coin and you don't feel that, okay, send it right back. If you don't understand this, and we understand gold is a precious metal, because the best way to describe it is many scientists will tell you that gold is actually, all gold in the Earth's crust is extraterrestrial. It's not here. It came from meteors that have struck the surface of the Earth.
Really?
Because scientifically, from a geologic standpoint, it's impossible for that much gold to be in the crust of the Earth. It wouldn't be there. It would only be because meteors that's why they're found in deposits. Mm-hmm. So literally, gold is extraterrestrial. And so when we see it, when we get it, we understand the value. That's what makes it precious. When I say that it's in our DNA that we get this, that's what I mean. We get this is special. Okay, I have 14 now remaining. So we get gold being special. It didn't accidentally become the most desirable of all metals. There are many metals that are far rarer than gold, okay? Platinum, palladium, I mean, you know, there's all kinds of metals. But nothing has the cachet of gold. Nothing has the desirability of gold. So when you look at a coin like this, and let's translate this into 14 karat, that's about 50 grams of 14 karat gold contained within this, because this is all 24 karat gold. So what you're looking at is about 50 grams. So do the math on that. So what's that, about $47 a gram for 14 karat gold? And in jewelry, which is not a coin, which is not collectible, which is not perfect, which is not first day of issue.
And historical.
Right, and historic. This becomes a tremendous and amazing price. So once again, I'm assuming, as is almost always the case when we bring out the Buffalo gold coin, with this, in particular the proof Buffalo. Now, do not confuse this with the regular Buffalo, which is more of a just a gold coin, in other words, a bullion coin. This is a presentation coin. The United States Mint sells this for a significant premium to the gold that it contains before it's been guaranteed and certified, before it's been guaranteed first day of issue, before it's got its own individual and unique serial number. And the way you know that it is a presentation coin is this W or West Point mint mark that you have here, 2016 W. And that is what denotes the true speciality of this coin, the true collectability and desirability of this coin. It looks like we have about a baker's dozen left. With everybody on the phone, we'll keep track of this and let you know if there's any left. I don't suspect that there will be. So just a spectacular, spectacular opportunity. Brand new. We just issued this today. It is exclusive to us here at HSN, and so based on that, our guaranteed lowest price as well.
488026 is your item number on this. Again, extremely limited. We have so many people trying to get through right now. So if you could, express ordering would be great to try and hop to the front of the line if you have an opportunity to own this. Again, exclusive to us, can't go anywhere else. Only right here at HSN. Mike brings us such exciting pieces, and this certainly is one of the most exciting.
Isn't that beautiful? Solid, pure 24 karat gold. Love it.
A $50 gold Buffalo coin. All right, want to give you a couple of